Now let's talk about some basic handling of the sextant, from removing it from its box and basic handling and replacing it in its box. First is to have a nice flat surface, something stable. Yes, at sea, when you remove it for use, you'll need to give that some thought, where you're going to place it. Perhaps you'll put the box in a corner of your cockpit, but don't stand in it. So those little things to think about. Make sure it's the right way around. Here you can see the hinge, the latch works like that. It has a sticker, and yes, I've written top on the top and bottom on the bottom. So if it's not obvious, you might want to do that. Study the latch mechanism. Make sure you can see that it's how it works. Open it. Be careful. Let the lid rest there nicely. And now let's have a look. I've used a few Brillo pads, yes, because the original foam rotted out, which tends to happen when your instrument gets a bit elderly. So what we do for starters, when we remove it from its box, is ensure there's nothing holding it clipped into the box, as some sextants may be. This one is simply resting on the Brillo pads, and you use your left hand, grab it around the frame. You can't really help but straddle the index arm, so I'm going to grab it around the frame, and then you transfer it to your right hand. In fact, better still, let's put this around your neck or around your wrist. If you give the sextant to somebody, then put it in your left hand. You give it to the recipient so that they can take it with their right hand. If you put the sextant down, transfer it to your left hand, place it down on the handle side. This one doesn't have two stable legs, but well, just be careful. You might think it's intuitive to place it down that way, so you can then lift it this way, but you have a few delicate parts and, well, you don't want to, so you place it down that way. And yes, be careful if it is going to be unattended. Where should you leave it? Somewhere in a safe place. When it comes to placing it back in its box, you want to ensure that the shades are folded away. And in this case, we need to set the instrument to perhaps the setting that you're seeing here, or close to it, because if it isn't, then it generally is a bit stubborn to go back in its box. As you can see, I'm going to have a few issues trying to get it in. So something like that, but this needs to be set perhaps there, and then if all is clear, we should be able to then close the box without problems, or not. So make sure that you put it correctly in its box.